Alright, so we surprisingly have a quick new chapter of One Punch Man. The manga is still on hiatus. Thanks to that time, the 5 Neo Heroes meeting chapters have all been redrawn and released in a single batch. But we'll get into all that in another video. In this one, we'll be focusing on the new chapter we haven't seen before. Saitama just one-shot some sort of snail monster. And seeing as the creature's hands are webbed, it's probably a sea snail. So Saitama has destroyed the Deep Sea King, the new Deep Sea King, who claimed to be the last of the sea folk, and whoever this guy was. But it probably doesn't matter who he was, because he wasn't in the webcomic at all. Instead, the monster that Saitama originally defeated here was Cruel Dragon. That entire nightly quest and knockoff hunt for the Dragon Balls that we saw before were actually supposed to be here. And right after all that crazy stuff, Saitama was at the grocery store picking up bananas, which is still done in this new chapter. But originally, the whole point was to show that Saitama was more conflicted by the groceries than the ancient quest he was just on. Now, that impact is severely reduced. At this point, the manga version seems to have just included all that early stuff for no reason. It just leads into 2 contextually pointless panels of Saitama playing video games with King that have no bearing on the story whatsoever. I'd even argue that this defies Saitama's character. Since when does Saitama recount the enemies he's faced to other people? I'm pretty sure that in every other case, he doesn't even remember them. So whatever direction the manga version was going for with this seems to have only butchered the original intention and caused this chapter to be abnormally short. To the point where I have to wonder if this chapter will stay the same for the physical release. If it doesn't, then that's just more unnecessary work for Murata. And from the looks of things, he doesn't have that much time to give these days. On his way home, Saitama passed the Gyro Metro and noticed Genos was walking ahead of him. The S-Class hero also had some groceries. So the cyborg didn't miss out on the special sale either. Saitama noticed that Genos was pretty banged up and missing an arm. It turns out that Genos ran into a monster, a rather strong disaster-level demon that was clearly a struggle to put down. Now, despite the complications mentioned earlier, this chapter is otherwise very faithful to the source material. And in this case, arguably a bit too faithful. Genos getting damaged like this by an off-screen disaster-level demon is a bit weird. For webcomic Genos, it makes total sense. S-Class heroes are expected to at least be somewhat above disaster-level demon threats by their lonesome, and he clearly did that. But manga Genos has way more upgrades and way more impressive feats. With his latest upgrade, we saw him easily defeat a disaster-level dragon, one that effortlessly beat the S-Class hero Tank Top Master and several other heroes of various ranks. Then Genos fought Saitama with it and had a better understanding of the gap between them. Soon after that, Genos was going blow for blow against Flashy Flash, one of the strongest characters in this series. So getting tossed by a demon is a terrible look for him. But if you look closer, you might notice another familiar face. The ninja Violent Force was undercover nearby. From there, Genos asked Saitama for the two of them to have another sparring session soon, which only makes me wonder if Genos might be suffering from a head injury too. Saying that you struggled against a disaster-level demon and requesting a fight against Saitama right after is an interesting choice. Beyond just that, Dr. Kuseno is interested in Saitama's physical abilities and seeks to properly analyze the bald hero's body. Saitama agreed, and Genos was grateful. In a nearby taxi, we see the ninja insanely mad undercover. Now, Saitama's response to Genos' mention of Dr. Kuseno is again faithful to the webcomic. But that's a bit strange because in the manga, Saitama already knows and met Dr. Kuseno, unlike in the original. They met because Dr. Kuseno was there for the hot pot at Saitama's old home. He even gave Saitama some premium beef as a gift since the hero always reacted to the bargain sale beef at the supermarket. Thanks to that, Saitama told the old man to come back to visit him anytime, which is pretty much the last thing he would say to anyone else in the story. And seeing that is actually why Fubuki decided to use premium beef to recruit Saitama and ended up with Rover instead. But that payoff took 103 chapters, plus however many redraws. So it's easy to forget where she got the idea. Whatever the case, this would be the very first scientific study of Saitama's body. So it's a pretty big deal. But Saitama was way more interested in what Genos brought back from the grocery store. The cyborg picked up some green onions for hot pot, sashimi that was on sale, and bananas that were fresh and cheap. And there was also a silhouette watching them that presumably belonged to a ninja as well. Saitama was impressed. He complimented his disciple for getting the hang of Saitama-style shopping. Pleased, Genos added that AAA batteries were half off too. Saitama couldn't believe it. Despite being the master here, he totally missed those. And that's when someone else approached and asked for some help too. The person claimed that the man in front of him was just too strong. Sleep Mask removed his shades and invited the hero to join him for tea at noon tomorrow. There was something he needed to discuss with him directly. Genos, assuming the A-class hero was talking to him, refused. But of course, Sleep Mask was here for Saitama. After the Monster Association raid, and Genos' thorough report on the bald hero, Sleep Mask began paying attention to Saitama. He actually left the meeting early, so he wasn't overwhelmed by the length of Genos' report like the other heroes were. He even saw Saitama hold his own against Tatsumaki, who is supposed to be the Hero Association's greatest weapon. With so many heroes leaving for Neo Heroes or otherwise, Sleep Mask proposed a plan to restore the association's credibility. His big plan is to turn Saitama into the perfect hero, and he intends to use his many political, governmental, and business connections to make that happen. If Sleep Mask has his way, Saitama won't just be an S-class hero. He will stand at the very top where he has always belonged, pretty much like Superman to the Justice League. But even without that, Saitama now has an army of 19 S-class level ninjas following him around like loyal servants. However, all of them are dead in the webcomic, so I am very curious how this will play out. I still expect it to mess with some of the stuff I'm looking forward to with the coming arcs, but we can only wait and see. For better or worse, no matter how screwy things can get, One Punch Man will always be a special series for me, so I will have fun regardless. And I hope it's the same for you. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.